In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories.
Mr. Tate, get to the witness stand.
That one.
That one.
All right, Mr. Tate, tell me, in your own words, what transpired on the night, November 21st?
It was the night of November 21st when Mr. Bob Ewell came into my office very excited, saying that some young, respectable African-American man had raped his girl.
Did you go?
Certainly. Got in the car and went out as fast as I could.
And what did you find?
I found her lying in the middle of the floor, the one on the right as soon as you go in. She was pretty well beat up, so I dragged her to her feet and took her to a bucket in the corner of the room where she washed off her face. I asked her who done it, and she said it was Tom Robinson.
Thank you.
Any questions, Atticus?
Yes. Did you call a doctor, Sheriff?
No, sir.
Did anybody call a doctor?
No, sir.
Didn't call a doctor.
No, sir.
Why not?
Well, I can tell you why I didn't. It wasn't necessary, Mr. Finch. She was mighty banged up. Something sure happened. It was obvious.
But you didn't call a doctor. While you were there, did anybody send for one, fetch one, or carry her to one?
No, sir.
He's already answered the question 3 times, Atticus. He did not call a doctor.
Sheriff, you say she was mighty banged up. In what way? Describe her injuries, Heck.
Well, she was beaten around the head, and she already had bruises coming in on her arm. She already had bruises coming in. She had a black eye.
Which eye?
Her left.
Wait a minute, Sheriff. Was it her left facing you, or her left facing the same way you were facing?
That's right, it was her right eye. It was her right eye, Mr. Finch. I remember now. She was bunged up on that side of the face.
Please repeat what you just said.
It was her right eye, I said.
No.
Mr. Finch, I remember now. She was bunged up on that side of her face.
Which side again, Heck?
Her right side, Mr. Finch. But she had more bruises. You want to hear about them?
Yes, what were her other injuries?
Her arms were bruised, and she showed me her neck. She had finger marks all along her gullet. She had a small throat. Anybody could have reached around it with.
Answer the question yes or no, please, Sheriff.
Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee Ewell, please come to the witness stand.
Mr. Robert Ewell,
That's my name, Captain.
are you the father of Mayella Ewell?
Well, if I ain't, I can't do nothing about it now. Ma's dead.
Are you the father of Mayella Ewell?
Yes, sir.
Well, let's get something straight. There will be no more audibly obscene speculations on any subject from anybody in this court as long as I'm sitting here. Do you understand? That's what Section 3A, Article 4 says in this court rule.
Is there?
All right, Mr. Gilmer.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Ewell, tell me in your own words what happened on the night of November 21st.
Well, it was just before sundown when I was carrying home a load of kindling from the woods when I heard Mayella screaming like a stuck hog inside the house. So I dropped my load of kindling and ran as fast as I could. But I run off into the fence. When I got disentangled, I run to the window and I see that young, respectable African-American man running on my Mayella.
There has been a request that this courtroom be cleared of spectators, or at least of women and children, a request that will be denied for that time being. People generally see what they look for and hear what they listen for. And they have the right to subject their children to it, but I can assure you of one thing. You will receive what you see and hear in silence, or you will leave this courtroom. But you won't leave it until the whole boiling of you come before me on contempt charges. Mr. Ewell, you will keep your testimony within the confines of Christian English usage. If that is possible, proceed, Mr. Gilmer.
You say you're at the window?
Is there?
Do you have a clear view of the room?
Is there?
How did the room look?
It was slung about like there was a fight.
What did you do when you saw the defendant?
Well, I run around the house to get in, but he run out the front door just ahead of me.
Then what did you do? Why, I run for Tate as quick as I could. I know who he was. Lived in that young, respectable African-American man nest down yonder. Thank you, Mr. Ewell. Mr. Ewell, folks were doing a lot of running that night. Let's see. You ran to the house, you ran to the window, you ran inside, you ran to Mayella, but did you, during all of this running, run for a doctor? Wasn't no need to. I seen what happened. Weren't you concerned with Mayella's condition? I most positively was. I seen who done it. No, I mean her physical condition. Don't you think that her injuries warranted immediate medical attention? What? Don't you think she should have had a doctor immediately? Why, I never called a doctor for any of my children in my life, and if I would, it would have cost me $5. Mr. Ewell, you heard the sheriff's testimony, correct? How's that? You were in the courtroom when Mr. Hectate was on the stand, weren't you? And you heard everything he said, didn't you? Yes, sir. Do you agree with his description of Mayella's injuries? How's that? Mr. Tate testified that her right eye was blackened and she was beaten around the... I holds with Tate. Her eye was blackened and she was mighty beat up. Mr. Ewell, can you read and write? Objection. I don't see what the witness's ability to read and write has to do with the case. It's irrelevant and immature. Judge, if you'll allow this question and one more, you'll soon see why.
Alright, let's see it.
I'll repeat the question. Can you read and write, Mr. Ewell? I most positively can. Can you write your name for us? Clearly now, so the jury can see. B-O-O-B-E-L-L. What's so interesting?
You're left-handed, Mr. Ewell?
No, that one.
Oh, you're left-handed, Mr. Ewell?
I don't see what me being left-handed has to do with anything. I'm a Christ-fearing man, and I don't see why Mr. Atticus Finch is taking advantage of me.
Mayella Valley Ewell, please come to the witness stand.
Where were you at dusk on that evening?
On the porch.
Which porch?
Well, there ain't but one but the front porch.
What were you doing on the porch?
Nothing.
You can tell us what happened, can't you, Mayella? That's enough now. Don't be afraid of anyone here. As long as you tell the truth, all this is strange to you. I know, but you've been nothing to be ashamed of and nothing to fear. What are you scared of?
Hell, ain't what I'm doing like it did my pa, trying to make him out left-handed.
How old are you, Miss Mayella?
19 and a half.
Miss Finch has no idea of what's scaring you, and if he did, I'm here to stop him. That's one thing I'm sitting up here for. Now you're a big girl, so just sit up straight and tell us what happened to you. You can do that, can't you?
Well, you see, I was sitting on the porch and that's when he came along. And my pa was out in the woods and he wanted me to bust up a chiffero. He'd set out there for some kindling. And I sure wasn't feeling quite strong enough. And that's when he came along.
Who is he?
Well, that yonder, Robinson.
Then what happened?
I said, come here, young, respectable African-American, and bust up this here chiffero. I mean, I got a nickel for you. He could have done this so easily, he could. And so he came up in the yard, I went in the house to get a nickel, and before I knew, he was on me. And he was just, he got me around the neck, cussing, saying dirt, and I fought and hollered, but he had me around the neck, and he hit me again and again. He choked me and chucked me to the floor and took advantage of me.
Did you scream? Did you scream and fight back?
Reckon I did. Hollered for all I was worth. I kicked and hollered loud as I could.
Then what happened?
Well, I don't remember too good. But next thing I knew, Papa was standing in the room, standing over me, hollering, "Who done it? Who done it?" And then I sort of fainted. And the next thing I knew, Mr. Tate was pulling me off the floor and leading me to the water bucket.
You say you fought him off hard? You say you fought him tooth and nail?
Well, I positively did.
Are you positive that he took advantage of you?
Well, he done what he was after.
That's all for now from me, alright? But you stay right there, okay? Mr. Big Bad Finch over there, yeah, he's got some questions for you. Miss Mayla, I won't try to scare you, at least not for now, not yet. Let's just get acquainted first.
Won't answer a word you say as long as you keep on mocking me.
Ma'am?
As long as you keep on making fun of me.
Mr. Finch is not making fun of you. What's the matter with you?
You say you're 19. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
7.
Did you ever go to school?
Rita's right as good as Poppy yonder.
Miss Mayla, a 19-year-old girl such as yourself must have friends. Who are your friends?
Friends? You making fun of me again, Mr. Finch?
Do you love your father, Miss Mayla?
Well, he does tolerable, except when nothing. I said he does tolerable.
Except when he's drinking? Well, we've had fun getting acquainted, Miss Mayla, but let's get to the case. You said you asked Tom to bust up what was it again?
A Chifro.
Was Tom well known to you?
I knowed who he was.
Was this the first time you asked him to come inside the fence?
Yes, it was.
Did you ever ask him to do any odd jobs for you?
Well, I might have. There were several young, respectable African-American men around.
Alright, now to what happened. You said Tom Robinson was behind you in the room when you turned around, is that right?
Yes.
You said he got you around the neck and started saying dirt.
That's right.
You say he caught me, he choked me, and he took advantage of me.
That's what I said.
Do you remember him beating you about the face?
No, I don't recollect. He hit me. Wait, yeah, he hit me real hard. He hit me.
Not to be tedious, Miss Mayla, but you testified that the defendant hit you, grabbed you by the neck, choked you, and then took advantage of you.
I don't know how he done it. He just done it. It all happened so fast.
Now, Miss Mayla, you've testified that the defendant hit you and began to take advantage of you. But never at any point did you say that he sneaked up behind you or knocked you out cold. Do you wish to reconsider any of your testimony?
Well, I told you what happened.
You were screaming all this time?
I certainly was.
Did you scream first at your father instead of Tom Robinson? Was that it? Who beat you up then? Was it Tom Robinson or was it your own father? What did your father see in the window? The crime of rape or the best defense to it? Why don't you tell the truth, child? Did Bob Ewell beat you up?
Well, I got something to say.
Do you want to tell us what happened?
Now, I got something to say, and then I ain't gonna say no more. Now, that young, respectable African-American over there took advantage of me, and if you fine gentlemen ain't gonna do nothing about it, well, then you're yellow taking care of that you. Now, your fancy hairs don't come to nothing. You're maiming and a Miss Mailin, man, they don't come to nothing, Mr. Finch.
Tom Robinson, come to the stand.
Were you acquainted with Mayla Violet Ewell, Mr. Robinson?
Yes, sir. I walk past our house going to and from the field every day.
You say you had to pass by the Ewell place to get to and from work. Was there any other way that you could have gone?
No, sir. None I know of.
When did she ask you to chop up the shiffer?
Mr. Finch, it was way last spring.
Did you ever go in the place again?
But I went lots of times.
Why did you go inside the fence lots of times?
She called me in, sir. Seems like every time I passed by yonder, she had something for me to do.
Did you ever set foot on the Ewell property without permission?
No, Mr. Finch, I never did that, sir.
Tom, what happened to you on the evening of November 21st of last year? Tom, what happened after that?
Mr. Finch, I was running so fast, I didn't know it.
Tom, did you rape Mayla Ewell?
I did not, sir.
Did you harm her in any way?
I did not, sir.
That's when you ran, correct?
I sure did, sir.
Why did you run?
Mr. Finch, if you were a young, respectable African-American man like me, you'd be running too.
Go ahead, Mr. Gilmer.
Sir Robinson, you're pretty good at busting up shift ropes and making kindling with one arm, aren't you?
Yes, sir, I reckon so.
And you were mighty polite to do all that chopping and holler for her, huh, boy?
I was just trying to help out, sir.
Did Mr. Ewell run you out the place, boy?
No, sir, I don't think he did.
You're very candid about this. Why'd you run so fast?
I says I was scared, sir.
You had a clear conscience, then why were you scared?
Like I've said before, it wasn't safe for any young, respectable African American man to be in a fix like that, sir.
But you weren't in a fix. You testified that Miss Yule was coming on to you, alright? So why'd you run? Okay, were you scared of a little girl, huh? A big buck like you, and you ran.
No, sir, I scared I'd be in court just like I am now.
Scared of arrest? Were you scared that you would have to face up to what you did?
No, sir, scared I'd have to face up for something I didn't do.
You know what, jury? I think I'm done. I rest my case.
Alright, gentlemen. I shall be brief, but I will use my remaining time with you to remind you that this case is not a difficult one. This case should have never come to trial, and it's as simple as black and white. The state has not produced one iota of medical evidence that the crime that Tom Robinson is charged with ever took place. She tempted a young, respectable African-American man, which, gentlemen, we know is a lie as black as Tom Robinson's skin. There is only one way in this country that all men are truly created equal, and that is in the U.S. court system. I am confident that you, gentlemen, without passion, will review the evidence, come to a decision, and restore this man to his family. In the name of God, do your duty.
Jury, it's time to make your decision. This court will take a 5-minute recess. Guilty. Guilty.